Throughout Half-Life, its episodic series, spin-offs, and even fan-made mods, there's one specific character that appears to set an uneasy tone of having your every bit of movement watched without fail. Whether it's escaping the doomed facility that is Black Mesa, or simply traversing through the desolate environments of City 17, he's always there, ensuring that you recognize his presence before vanishing out of thin air. The way Valve implemented this character is incredible. An uneasy aura immediately shrouds the player in confusion, shock, and mystery, but most importantly, intrigue. Just who is the G-Man? Is that even his name? We only call him that because of his name in the game's folder. He can completely bend the concept of time to grab those who he deems worthy for his employers and change the course of history itself. He can insert himself into a situation at will, and the deeper I go into the thought of the G-Man, the more spine-chilling the discussion of him becomes. His presence is unmatched in the entirety of gaming, as 25 years later, his morals, motivations, and end goals are left ambiguous. Even with the release of Half-Life Alyx, the question remains impossible to solve. Just who is the G-Man? The Half-Life series is known for its vague story, allowing the player to piece it together on their own. Even in today's day, the discovery of its obscure development are being tackled and solved. In today's video, I wanted to shed light upon the ominous entity that is the G-Man, the numerous theories surrounding his existence, and my own personal take of who I think he is. Starting off with his appearance, he can always be seen in a blue suit and rocking a tie. He's always holding a briefcase most of the time. He has a cold, ominous look, completely emotionless with a menacing stare. What makes the G-Man so unsettling to confront is the way he speaks. His tone is very formal and serious, taking deep breaths and long pauses between his sentences.
That's why I'm here, Mr. Freeman. I have recommended your services to my employers. That's why I must now extract from you some small repayment owed for your own survival. See her safely to White Forest, Dr. Freeman. I wish I could do more than keep an eye on you, but I have agreed to abide by certain restrictions.
This is also extremely discomforting as it portrays the G-Man as someone who is imposing himself as a human to fit into the world of Half-Life, as if he's a species beyond our knowledge to even comprehend. When he's talking to Gordan or Alyx, he has a very dominant smirk, indicating that he's proud of his work and has complete dominance or control over the conversation. And the only time he ever seemed annoyed or angry is when an external force is in his path.
We'll see about that.
And can I just point out that I love the idea of some of the characters within the series immediately recognizing the underlying threat that is the G-Man. We'll start off with the Nihilanth, the final boss of the first game, who is the leader of Zen. His quotes are major influences for some of the most popular theories on who the G-Man is, as they foreshadow his face-to-face encounter with Gordan Freeman.
Deceive you, will deceive you. You are man, he is not man. The last you are, the last you are. For you he waits, for you. The truth, you can never know the truth.
There are also the Vortigaunts, who recognize the G-Man's presence. They're one of the main enemies that you face in the first game. After the death of the Nihilanth, it is revealed that they were an enslaved race who now have their undying loyalty towards the Resistance and Gordon Freeman. They share the same thoughts and goals, which is known as vortescence. So when they see that the G-Man is planning to throw Gordon into stasis once more at the end of the second game, they stop him and teleport him back into City 17. And the way the G-Man reacts to his presence being notified by this species is incredible.
We'll see about that.
He's shocked at first, but shows immediate disgust and anger at the idea that his plans are halted. After this, he's never really seen until the return in episode 2. When the Vorts are distracted with reviving Alex, he immediately takes this opportunity to contact Gordan and gives one of the best speeches in the Half-Life franchise. In this speech, he's a lot more informative and helpful, guiding Gordan on what to do. But it's still very cryptic, although it's a complete shift in his character and it's incredible to witness. Then you have Eli and Alex themselves, with Eli having close connections to the G-Man back in Black Mesa, relating to Gordan.
Unforeseen consequences. The last time I heard those words was back at Black Mesa. You had just stepped into the test chamber when he whispered them in my ear. You know who I'm talking about. Our mutual friend. When he brought in that crystal, I knew I should have aborted that damn test, but I didn't. The whole world went to hell that day. And now he's using my little girl, putting words in her mouth. God damn it. I should have known when he rescued her it was for his own damn reasons. Gordan, there's so much I need to tell you. Between us, we may finally have a chance of,
This shows the player that he is not just an illusion or figment of Gordan's imagination, but the real deal, as our cast of characters also recognize his menacing existence and have little to no power on how to rebel against him. Spoiler alerts for Half-Life Alyx, but I love the ending to this game. As Eli is condemning him, you can see him in the background, vanishing from your view. This type of writing is phenomenal. It's like the G-Man is playing one big game of chess, slowly moving his pieces into situations to where him and his employers see fit. It's also very uncomfortable encountering the G-Man during some segments throughout the Half-Life series. He's always in places you can't really access with the position you're in at the moment, and it's horrifying. Just why is this person keeping his close eye on us? Now there are many theories that aim to dissect just who the G-Man is, and I want to touch up on some before mentioning my own. So the first theory is the idea that G-Man is an extraterrestrial being recruiting Gordan from the interest of his employers. This is backed up by the idea of his mannerisms and long pauses, as if he is trying to imitate a regular human being. Yet this theory doesn't explain his goals or motivations at all, just the idea of his capabilities to transcend the average human, and the knowledge he possesses is far greater than what humanity could ever comprehend. In my opinion, this is a simple and solid theory. There's no evidence against the fact that the G-Man could be an alien. It's the only theory that hasn't really been debunked, although it kinda states the obvious. So yeah, it's an 8 out of 10 theory, mainly because it's kind of obvious. Now we have the hallucination theory, where Gordan has just imagined everything that happens during the resonance cascade due to the insane amount of radiation that has flooded into his body. This is pretty much an immediate kick in the balls to every Half-Life fan. Evidence for this involves the portal which takes you to the Nihilanth's chamber. You can hear the scientists from the test chamber ordering others to just get Gordan out of there. There's also the Half-Life 2 beta, which opens up with this quote.
Cleverly done, Mr. Freeman, but you're not supposed to be here. As a matter of fact, you're not. Get back where you belong and forget about all this. Until we meet again.
So yeah, it's a pretty mid theory, so I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10. Now we have the theory of future Gordan. So there are theories that the G-Man is actually Gordan's father or just Gordan from the future. This is mostly based on people believing that G-Man stands for Gordan Freeman, which is incorrect since it's slang for government man. Also, any resemblance between Gordan Freeman and the G-Man is most likely a result of the in-game character model similarities rather than any implied family bond. So yeah, this theory isn't the best as it doesn't have any hard evidence besides the similar features between the two's character designs. So yeah, it's a 2 or 3 out of 10. I don't know, it's pretty mid. So now we have the theory of the G-Man actually being the Nihilanth. Popular YouTuber known as the Game Theorist also tackles a question on who the G-Man is. To give a summary of their theory in case you haven't watched it, the G-Man is a Nihilanth, they have teleportation abilities, they have the same voice actor, can manipulate space and time, predict the future, and are the Combine's foes. The Nihilanth hints at another, the name means not man, and the fetus design of the Nihilanth may be disguised as a human. The tie that G-Man constantly adjusts also refers to his third arm. What? It's a massive stretch to consider this as a valid theory. As much as it ties back to its points and attempts to give hard evidence of its claims, one of the writers for the Half-Life narrative, Mark Laidlaw, immediately disproved of this theory. So 4 out of 10, for the effort at least. So this theory is actually inspired by VGTI's Half-Life theory, which you should definitely check out. I'll be sure to link it in the description below. So my take on the G-Man is rather simple, and this is because that we're completely left in the dark with little to no information. As Mark Laidlaw stated in a previous interview with New Angel, when being questioned about the map pack game theory, he said this: "The G-Man in my estimation is a mystery the players don't have enough clues on to currently solve. It will be a long time and many game installments before you'd have anything like the fuller picture of the G-Man's nature. It would have been fun to keep building it up slowly. I resist the temptation to solve anything right away and close off possibilities." This is an interesting confirmation on the idea that Valve is intentionally keeping the identity of G-Man under wraps as for long as they possibly can, refusing to elaborate on just who he is, to instead have the player recognize his existence and deem him as an anomaly, an external force that is beyond the capabilities of the player to ever understand. And that's exactly what I believe the G-Man is. The constant referral to his employers and the idea that he is authorized to quote-unquote nudge suggests that the G-Man has those who are higher above him, definitely an entity that isn't human. I absolutely love the way Valve meticulously structured this character with a simple theme of less is more, and it's incredible, as nobody would have guessed that a mysterious man in a blue suit and red tie who's holding a briefcase could be so threatening to the timeline of the Half-Life universe. He twists and contorts reality itself once given validation from his employers. In a metaphorical sense, he's the literal definition of fate. The definition of fate is the development of events outside a person's control, regarded as predetermined by a supernatural power. When paired with every encounter we've seen of the G-Man, this theory becomes a lot more justifiable. It goes back right at the beginning of Half-Life. As stated by Eli, he was the one who was handed the sample by him that was used within the experiment with the quote unforeseen consequences. He also foreshadowed the death of Eli through the use of Alex, and could also alter the circumstances involved within the original timeline as seen in Half-Life Alyx. Then there's Gordan Freeman. The G-Man has had his focus on him throughout the entire series of games, always making sure to keep a close eye on him, informing him and altering circumstances to his benefit or even his downfall. And if you were to consider opposing force canon, the G-Man is responsible for nuking Black Mesa and putting Adrian Shepard into stasis, deeming him fit as an employee for his motives. Then you have Alex. When Alex actually frees the G-Man from the vault, you can see that he's not really stressed out of being in that situation. as if he's just waiting for Alex to encounter him, which is yet more evidence that backs up the theory that he's the representation of fate. The G-Man gives her a second chance to alter the timeline. This can relate to when people describe fate as an entity, as they're describing the idea that fate has led them down this path or brought them to this, humanizing the term as if it was some sort of guidance. But then that begs the question on why the G-Man intentionally brought the sample to the test chamber, foreshadowed Eli's death, and even encouraged Gordan to rebel against the Combine and take Alex out of reality. This could be referring to the idea that the future is never really set in stone. Fate is only a guidance, as the G-Man creates a situation and allows the player to react upon it. And the Combine understanding of his extraterrestrial power and capabilities of literally shifting time and guiding those to the best interest of his employers is an interesting thought, as the Combine are a natural superpower that aims to take over galaxies upon galaxies. They recognize the G-Man's presence and try and stop him in order to attain their, new world order. So there is the theory of the G-Man recruiting those who he believes to be vital for him and his employers to set the course of history straight again and take down the Combine, but we don't know yet. So yeah, that is my initial take of the G-Man. I hope you all enjoyed this video. As of making this video, we're steadily approaching 500 subs, so I appreciate those who have stuck with me on the development of this channel. I'm extremely grateful to have the opportunity to share my thoughts on topics that I like to talk about and make these weird and wacky essays. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. I'll see you guys in the next one.